An ATV that works for a living will probably spend some time hauling stuff around. And although a Yamaha ATV has a big heart, whether the load is on racks or being towed, for safety's sake, you need to be aware of load limits and their significant effects. So, let's take a look at loading for starters.
Before loading up, make sure the carrier racks are in good condition. Centre any load and keep that load as low as possible. Make sure the load doesn't interfere with your controls or your ability to see or shift your body weight. Keep sharp objects away from rider position and ensure the load is secure. Overloading should be avoided as it can seriously compromise stability and safety. This is why your Yamaha ATV manual contains recommendations for maximum load on the front and rear racks. If you're using spray tanks, keep in mind that 1 litre of fluid equals 1 kilogram plus the weight of the equipment. And make sure baffles are fitted inside the tank to prevent violent weight shifts caused by sloshing water. This will destabilise the ATV, especially on sloping ground. Exercise extra care when carrying heavy loads. If your ATV has 4-wheel drive, use it. If it's a full automatic model, select low range, and if it's a semi-automatic, keep the machine in low gear. If you're going to tow, aim for the ideal 15 kilogram tongue ball weight. Use only ATVs for towing where the factory-fitted attachments exist, and use only factory-fitted towing points. Ensure the trailer load is secure and pack low. And take care to observe weight recommendations as detailed in your ATV manual. As always, when under load, use the 4-wheel drive if you have it. Low range for automatics and low gear for semi-autos. If you're working in muddy conditions, it's best to have trailer tyres similar to the ATVs. It's a good thing to remember on a heavily loaded ATV, everything is affected, including handling, stability, pulling power and safety. So you need to allow for that. The more weight you carry, the slower you should go. Avoid sharp turns unless at very slow speed. Allow greater braking distance as a heavily loaded ATV takes longer to stop. And choose your terrain carefully to avoid slopes and rough ground.
There'll be times when you want to transport your ATV. And whether you're using a truck, ute or trailer, it should never be a casual she'll-be-right exercise. There are proper techniques and procedures to follow that'll make the job less of a drama and ensure your safety in the process.
There's one thing you need to do before you attempt any loading or unloading, and that's put on your safety gear. Helmet, gloves and goggles at the very least. It might sound like overkill, but you'd be surprised how many injuries happen in the course of loading and unloading. So play it smart and safe, gear up before you start. First off, make sure you pick a suitable site to load and unload. Then check that the transport vehicle is in gear with the engine off and the park brake on. Next, if ramps are being used, see that they're secured to the back of the vehicle or trailer, that they aren't about to exceed their carrying capacity, that the tray of the vehicle is clear of obstacles, and that the wheels of the ATV are centred over the ramps. Check that it's in first gear, low range, and if it's got 4-wheel drive, then engage that too. Then ride on carefully at slow speed. Once you're loaded up, it's important to take the time to secure the ATV properly. Be sure it's centred up for correct weight distribution and that the park brake is applied. Use only approved straps and harnesses that are in good condition. Secure the ATV front and rear using the appropriate strong points on the ATV and the transport vehicle. If in doubt, seek advice from your Yamaha dealer. Finally, ensure that all other objects are secured so that the ATV is not damaged by shifting loads.
An ATV being ridden on the limit looks pretty spectacular and exciting stuff, doesn't it? And it's a real adrenaline rush, but you need to bear a couple of things in mind. A sports ATV like this Yamaha Raptor is designed specifically for high performance handling and is as different to a utility ATV as a Formula One Ferrari is to the family Commodore. In other words, don't jump on the utility ATV and try to be a boy racer. You'll most likely come to grief. ATV sports riding or racing demands the right machine the right gear and the right riding skills. I'll show you what I mean. The sport ATV and the utility ATV are two very different animals. Performance and handling characteristics are like chalk and cheese. So never try to push a utility ATV to do what a sport ATV can do. On the sport ATV, the axles and A-arms are wider, which in turn makes the wheels wider and produces better high-performance handling. But at the same time, it means the machine needs a bigger gap to get between trees and other obstacles. The sport ATV has a lower centre of gravity, which gives superior handling in the corners. But that also means you have less ground clearance for getting over rocks and logs. Power delivery is more aggressive for the sport ATV, so acceleration is more instantaneous than on the utility ATV. And finally, there's a big difference in tyres. The sport ATV has smaller sidewall tyres, which allows it to slide and skate much easier than the utility ATV with its high-profile balloon tyres. These may seem like small differences between machines, but their effects are quite dramatic. So if you want to ride sport style, then do it on a sports ATV, not a utility. Never forget it's a matter of horses for courses.
Yamaha ATVs are designed and built for Australian conditions, and they've earned an enviable reputation over many years for their quality, performance and reliability. But you need to play your part to get the best from your ATV. Proper maintenance and regular scheduled servicing by a qualified Yamaha ATV dealer is your best guarantee of a safe machine that will deliver peak performance and reliability. So make sure you don't skip regular servicing, and in between services, check your ATV regularly to pick up anything like leaks or faults, however small, and get them attended to promptly before they become major problems or compromise safety. Well, that's pretty much it. The basics you need to know and practice as an ATV rider. Now, it's not the full story, of course, but a lot of it comes down to common sense. Stuff like not carrying passengers, respecting property owners' rights, taking care of the environment, and avoiding drugs and alcohol when riding. Now, people will joke about big boys' toys, but ATVs are not toys. They can be a willing workhorse and a hell of a lot of fun. But ignorance, carelessness, and pushing beyond the limits of the ATV or your own ability as a rider can end in tragedy. When you boil it all down, if you want to get the most out of your ATV, there's just one way to go. Ride smart, ride safe.